Listen 6 minutes. Comment on this story. Comment gift article share. For the past 3 seasons, Taulia Tagovailoa has given the Maryland football program something new at quarterback. He has flashed his ability, broken school records and provided long-awaited stability. But the image of him lying on the turf in pain, holding his leg and leaving on a cart during the Terrapins game at Indiana on Saturday came as a familiar sight for a fanbase scarred by an abundance of quarterback injuries. The injury will loom over the weekend, even though backup Billy Edwards Jr. replaced Tagovailoa early in the fourth quarter and lifted Maryland out of a deficit to a 38-33 win. Edwards, a transfer from Wake Forest, led the Terps on back-to-back touchdown drives despite not completing a pass and scored a rushing touchdown with 2:11 remaining. The Hoosiers then scored with under a minute to go, but their 2-point attempt failed, keeping Maryland's lead at 5. Copeland recovered Indiana's onside kick to seal a win that will have a muted celebration until the severity of Tagovailoa's injury becomes clear. Coach Michael Locksley said his quarterback suffered a lower leg injury and that he wasn't sure whether it involved his knee or ankle. The team will know more after Tagovailoa has an MRI exam upon returning to College Park. "We all know that on any given play, it could be your opportunity," said Locksley, who added that Edwards takes 40% of the first-team reps in practice. "Our players prepare that way." Before Tagovailoa left the game, the Terps, 5-2, 2-2 Big Ten, suffered a barrage of setbacks, some unavoidable, injuries that kept key players out, and others self-inflicted, too many penalties, an undesirable habit of this team. But the Terps managed to hold off the struggling Hoosiers, 3-4, 1-3, who have lost 4 straight. When Edwards entered, the Terps faced a 27-24 deficit. His offensive teammates told him they had confidence in him, and as the backup, Edwards described his preparation as very similar to Taulia's. He led Maryland on a go-ahead touchdown drive, which was capped by Roman Hemby's 6-yard rush with 5:35 to go. The defense, plagued by lapses and penalties throughout, stepped up by recovering a fumble on Indiana's next possession, opening the door for the second touchdown drive. Hemby's 46-yard run pushed Maryland into striking position, and Edwards looked sharp as he provided the heroics. "The longer I was in there," he said, "I got more comfortable." Maryland played without 3 key veterans who normally start: linebacker Ruben Hyppolite II, ankle, who had missed 2 games but had returned to play last week; cornerback Jakorian Bennett, unspecified injury; and left tackle Jaelyn Duncan, who missed the game for personal reasons. The Terps' depth has been further depleted by injuries to defensive backs Gavin, Gibson and Glendon. Tarheeb Still, with an interception on the game's first play, and Deonte Banks, with a pick on Indiana's first play of the second half, provided moments of optimism for the secondary, which had a performance that Locksley described as hit or miss. The Terps fell into a hole after unraveling in the second quarter, with penalties hampering the defensive effort, Tagovailoa struggling at times against Indiana's pressure and the offense stalling. Maryland's redshirt junior quarterback completed 10 of 14 passes in the opening quarter and then just 6 of 13 in the second. The Hoosiers scored 14 straight points to take into halftime a 17-14 lead, including a touchdown drive that came after the Terps picked up a defensive holding flag on the punt and handed Indiana an automatic first down. "Guys have got to be disciplined, really," said Still, who was twice flagged for pass interference. "We got kind of lackadaisical. We had a good first quarter, and then we just got kind of lax, and then we were kind of chilling a little bit, which is bad. We've got to keep the foot on the gas every play." The Terps improved after halftime, with Tagovailoa leading Maryland on a touchdown drive that ended with Dontay Demus Jr.'s first score since he returned from a torn ACL last season. Maryland's rushing attack, which gained just 45 yards through 3 quarters, came to life in the fourth with 127 yards. After the game, Edwards said he and Tagovailoa had a good long hug in the locker room. "He was in good spirits," Edwards added. "He was celebrating, singing with me, banging on the lockers." Edwards' solid performance with the game on the line provided optimism if he must hold on to the role in the weeks to come. But the Terps naturally would prefer to get their starter back to keep this promising season on track. For now, they will have to wait for that update while hoping Tagovailoa doesn't join his many predecessors who have had unfortunate injuries. In the past decade, Maryland fans have had to stomach one torn ACL after another. They have watched a linebacker step in at quarterback. They have seen seasons upended by these injuries, and so they flinch anytime Tagovailoa stays on the ground for a bit too long after he's hit. He had a scare earlier this year, when he slipped because of a cramp after scoring a rushing touchdown against Charlotte. Tagovailoa sat out during the final drive in the loss at Michigan as he dealt with minor rib and knee injuries. This time, Tagovailoa left on a car. Edwards performed admirably and ensured the Terps rose to the occasion, but the image of Tagovailoa in pain will linger, and the ramifications of his injury could change the course of Maryland's season.